Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Rotoworld Football Show. I am Patrick Daugherty, joined as always by Denny Carter, where we're not legally allowed to tell you if it's Monday or Tuesday. We're also not legally allowed to tell you if it's 2022 or 2023.
It's hard to say.
We don't know, so it could be Saturday, for all you know.
It's one or the other.
By the way, do you say 2023 or do you say, no one says 2023,
No.
right?
No, not at all. No, I used to wonder that in the early 2000s.
Well, say, why did we do that? I've always wondered that. Why did we say 2008? I guess you can't just say 2008.
No. I mean, up until 2010, it was appropriate to say 2007, 2008. But once it hit 2010, all bets were off. It's 2011.
It's kind of weird. I feel like that's the adopted style, just saying 2023, because that's not how you say it. But
oh, come on, though. I mean,
well, that's not how you say the number. I mean.
Did you say 1998?
You should.
Okay, all right, Grandpa.
I think they did in the 19th century. I think they would say that.
Oh,
1898
for sure, right? And instead, what we said was 1998.
But anyways, we got far more important things
we do
to talk about than year naming conventions, Denny. That is, of course, the new Washington Commanders mascot. A bulbous pig known as Major Tuddy. And by the way, our free speech has been suppressed by our ironic usage of the words Tuddy and Tutter.
Yeah.
I'm sure we were left a negative review, but look what now look at where I got you. The word's gone viral.
The speech is free, and the Washington Commanders know that.
And so we'll get to your opinion on this. I'll just share my quick opinion on Major Tuddy. Where this is the first good thing to happen to the Washington football franchise in the entire Daniel Snyder era. And if I was thinking of a North American sports franchise likely to come up with an amazing mascot, I would put the Commanders 124 out of 124 or whatever it is. But I'm smitten. I'm taken with Major Tuddy, and I was wondering if you happen to agree.
I agree to the extent that the pig is cute. Okay,
he's cute, but he's also he's hefty too, though. He's like a real deal pig. He's not just there to be cute.
Right. Well, I think he's probably 18 months away from having ripped biceps and an 8-pack, like every superhero. But here's the thing about everything that franchise does. I'm trying not to speak while you're sipping from your coffee mug, but everything that franchise does generates a lawsuit, and this is no different.
It's true, I know. So I've heard there is a dark side to
there. Yes. So the Washington football legends such as Joe Jacoby and John Riggins and other 80s greats who in this area are just absolutely living legends.
They've been selling cars probably nonstop since the 80s.
Lots of cars sold on these names. So these were known, and the Zoomers have no idea. So let me give you some background. These are known as the Hogs, okay? In the 80s and 90s, the Washington team, they love to establish it as hard as humanly possible, okay? And they would just run through your face. And John Riggins was this big old dude, and he would just bulldoze guys. He wasn't fast, he wasn't quick, but he would run for 150 yards every single game because they gave him the ball 57 times. And so this is where the Hogs come from, okay? So now this team is trying to carefully toe the line between honoring the past and not being sued. And I think that's nice of them.
It's also just an imperfect encapsulation of the Daniel Snyder. Actually, it's not a perfect encapsulation of the Daniel Snyder era. He wouldn't usually do the first part. What did you say the first part? Like honoring the past? He wouldn't usually do that part.
What do you mean? No, Pat. No. He is steeped in the nostalgia that he experienced with his father. That's the reason.
But he always does it wrong. Like he has like a ceremony by like a porta potty, or they unveils like a statue that like clearly like someone designed on like AutoCAD like 2 nights before.
Well, the Sean Taylor statue from a month ago comes straight out of a dark comedy. They let Jackson Mahomes dance on Sean Taylor's. They've really mishandled a shocking amount of Sean Taylor tributes. Yes, the use of Sean Taylor with that franchise is definitely up for debate and in question. But the Major Tuddy. Here's another thing I have wrong with it. So overall, I hate it.
Okay? Oh, come on, man. It's such a cute pig.
It's a
And
very
I like too that we're leaning back
I
into, like the late 90s, early 2000s, everything had to be angry. Like why is that cardinal bird have a submachine gun?
the
And,
the Cardinal got so mad.
Yeah, they all got so mad. And then beginning with Gritty and the Philadelphia Flyers, they've actually tried to usher in like kid-friendly mascots again, where the Wildcat's not trying to gouge your eyes out. He's trying to give you like a lollipop or a playing card. I think it's a good trend.
Even the dolphin on the Dolphins helmet went from kind of jovial, fun looking to angry, just furious.
Yeah. Just like he's about to like cut you off in his Mercedes, and when you get out of the car, this is way too dark for the show. He's gonna really escalate a road rage incident.
Okay, but and here's something that someone on Twitter pointed out to both of us today. You named this mascot after a word that literally no one will say in the next 6 months. Tutty. Okay. No one is going to know. First of all, no one knows what tutty means except for you and me and other broken brains who watch football 47 hours a week. Okay. But, beyond that, not even us, not even we are going to use that term in 6 months. And this mascot's still going to be named Major Tutty.
Well, do you think it should be named Major Tutter? Maybe. Would that
no. How about this? Here's one that could fit. I think that would be relevant in 6 months. Major Touchdown.
I mean, that's not. It has to have some cheeky appeal. I'm just actually stunned that the Commanders executed something with cheeky appeal. That's why. I mean, Daniel Snyder, he is on his way out the door. You got to give him credit. Excuse me. Of course, I am being informed. You do not have to hand it to him.
You gotta hand it to him. And we've said this more than once.
You do not have to hand it to him. But my unpopular opinion is that I like Major Tutty. I think they should keep the name. If Jeff Bezos, whoever buys this team next, you need to keep the pig. You need to keep the pig. Yeah, don't let him get ripped. He needs to be like a lineman pig.
I mean, what I want here. Ultimately, I want the Major Tutty lawsuit to go straight to the Supreme Court.
It will, and it's going to be 6-3. We don't really know which way.
I want to hear Neil Gorsuch talk about Major Tutty.
They're going to be studying, like exhibits, like blown up huge cardboard, because I'm sure they've actually stole the concept of Major Tutty from somewhere else.
If you look at this picture of Joe Jacoby in 1987, he resembles what some would call a pig.
Yeah, and there's just no way this wasn't stolen from like some Division II school or something, obviously, too. Like there's actually been a beloved Major Tutty since like 1983.
Oh my God, you're right. Oh my God.
But, well, SCOTUS, all we can say is do the right thing.
Yeah, they always do.
We'll do the right thing and begin the football show, Denny, the Rotoworld football show. Tom Brady, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're back, right? Right?
They're absolutely all the way back. All of the woes are now gone, and we can resume winning Super Bowls for Tom Brady. No, look, the Panthers secondary is down bad and has been for some time. They've held their own and kind of, been very efficient on offense. That formula is very shaky. The Bucs broke it, and Brady went crazy yesterday.
I think it's a little more to that so J.C. Horn was out, of course, which really
it's a huge blow.
So an already down bad secondary from the Panthers, missing their best cornerback. But this was a team that destroyed the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and this was a Bucs team that couldn't move the ball, like a not imposing Arizona Cardinals defense in week 16. And I think there was like a little bit of a turning point. I will kind of like buy into Narrative Street a little bit, and early in the first quarter, it happened again, folks. You will not believe this one weird trick that happened again. They threw a deep ball to Mike Evans, and he hellaciously dropped it. Like a 40 or 50-yard gain was just dropped down the left sideline. And yes, Tom Brady did have a conniption fit. Yeah, I mean, yes, his face just turned the color of the Martian surface. But instead of getting down and compounding the problem, they went back to the well. They were talking about on the Fox broadcast during the game, they had apparently talked during the week, like, no more of this conservative, what. Like, they had actually committed, like, we have Tom Brady, maybe just, like, let him, like, throw bombs a few times, see what happens. They did do that. They continued to go to Mike Evans, and the reward in the second quarter was a 63-yard touchdown where Mike Evans just ran right by Keith Taylor, a superstar cornerback for the Carolina Panthers. But he hasn't been running by anybody.
Who I've heard of before.
Yeah, I know. But still, he hasn't been running by anybody. He runs right by Keith Taylor, scores a 63-yard touchdown. A quarter later, or 4 minutes later in game time, early in the third quarter, He was singled up with C.J. Henderson, who just stopped running. Mike Evans did not stop running. Weeks prior, Tom Brady just would like check down to Cade Otton, who would have dropped it. He saw this. He went deep. Another touchdown. Touchdown number 3. He just runs right by C.J. Henderson again. And they're taking advantage of a good matchup. But that was something they hadn't done all year. Like they had not even been taking advantage of good matchups. Tom Brady hadn't had a single 400-yard game, hadn't had a single 4-touchdown game, had not scored a single rushing touchdown all year until yesterday, which is kind of stunning. And I just think that maybe they kind of discovered a little something. But we also discovered they're not going to like build momentum in week 18 because they're already locked into that number 4 seed.
Yeah.
And there's essentially no reason for them to play, right, in the finale.
That's right. Right. It's Blaine Gabbert season this week. I will say, you know, one thing that we on this show and on the Thursday show with Kyle and Crane, we have been begging the Bucs to get back to their aggressive pass first ways of 2020 and 2021.
And they did that. They did
that. Right. And I have some numbers to back it up. Their pass rate over expected on first down against the Panthers this past week was 10%. It's 4% for the season. So that was a huge improvement in establishing the pass, which they can do very well because, you know, they have a lot of good pass catchers and they have the worst running back duo in the NFL. So they're terrible. They're both Rashad White and Uncle Lenny are truly bad. I mean, they're super inefficient. They've been trying to, you know, do that thing where you gain 3 yards on first down and then go from there. It doesn't work. Hopefully they've abandoned that formula. Hopefully for them, you know, like, look, I mean, fantasy wise, it's cool, but hopefully for them, they've realized the error of their ways and said, hey, yeah, this is how we won a Super Bowl. And this is how we got into the postseason last year.
I think they did. And I think they also know, I mean, they're the 4 seed. They're going to be playing probably the Cowboys, maybe the Eagles. They're going to know that they can't, there's just no way. Those are match point games. Like, You're not going to be able to grind out a victory. They actually did grind out a victory over the Cowboys in week 1, but Dak Prescott got hurt in that game. I do think they're going to try to build on this game for better or worse. I mean, in our minds, obviously for better. I do think they discovered something, and they at least discovered the way. If they're going to lose, they're going to lose this way because they lost a lot of ways. They lost so many games in a way that was very not Tom Brady, and everyone's just like, "Why were you doing that?" It seems like they finally realized, we should not be doing that. Yeah,
and it's a good time to rediscover it. It's a good time to do that so that they can beat the Cowboys in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows this is a blood oath. This is a blood pact. This will be happening.
It's happening.
The Dallas Cowboys, even though Tampa Raymond James Stadium will probably be like 65% Cowboys fans for that game in the wild card round, the Bucs will probably easily be winning. And by the way, the Bucs, talk about a team. So Tom Brady has he was in this situation a lot in New England where like week 17, now week 18 didn't matter. And they're like, surely they're not going to play Tom Brady. And he'd always play until like the 3rd or the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen this weekend, though. Just the way the season's gone, how banged up the offensive line is, you know, how Chris Godwin's gotten banged up like several times. Julio Jones, Russell Gage have both been banged up several times. I think we're going to see a full-on resting. And if Tom Brady's plays, it's like a series.
Yeah, and why even that? I don't
maybe like contract
incentives.
Yeah, incentive season. But.
Right. I am, just so folks know, for my Tuesday column on the site, I am looking into incentives certain players might have. I have not found any for Brady, but we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's got some sort of like really, really dark incentive. Like, or if he starts, he takes 13% ownership of the Bucs franchise or something. That was negotiated in there. One of Tom Brady's former teammates, Denny Carter, Jarrett Stidham, became an instant star against the San Francisco 49ers league best defense. Josh McDaniels said last week, Derek Carr is not good. It's Jarrett Stidham's season. He's 26 years old. He's never started a game, but he's our quarterback. Yep. He comes out, he throws for 365 yards. That's more than Derek Carr had managed all season. Threw for 3 touchdowns, a total. Derek Carr had somehow hit only twice. He got the memo about, if you throw the ball up to Devonta Adams down the field, he's probably going to go get it. 7 catches, 153 yards, 2 touchdowns, a lot of deep connections. But so really good. So first off, let's just begin with like the initial question. Is it Jarrett Stidham DFS season in Week 18 against the Kansas City Chiefs?
I mean, sort of. I would say yes, except for he's going to be super mega chalk, as the kids say.
Because it's a small slate. It's going to be a 2-game slate on Saturday, correct?
I mean, that's he's going to be super, super chalk. Now, congratulations to those who Galaxy brained it hard enough so that they stacked Stidham with Adams in yesterday, either in full slates or in the afternoon slate. I did not have the courage to do that, and man, have I been regretting it, because I really gave it some thought. But yeah, Stidham was excellent against, again, a very good Niners pass defense. He had
very good everything Niners defense. Like, it really was like a genuinely shocking performance.
It was third highest completion rate over expected in EPA per play. He was 7th, only behind like Dak Prescott, Purdy, Goff, Herbert, and Jones. Like, you know, he was really efficient as a passer. I know he made that, you know, interception in overtime, and when he was hit and it kind of ballooned up in the air. I mean, you know, that sort of thing happens. But you were saying last week, and I didn't completely dismiss it as a joke, and maybe you did mean it as a joke, but you mentioned that
it's hard to say.
Josh McDaniel acquired Stidham. You know,
he did. Yeah, like traded. I mean, it was a 7th round pick, but yeah, he clearly believes in the guy.
He wanted him there, and you know, I look back at Stidham's preseason stuff. I know preseason's preseason, but you know, we don't have much to work with. He was good. I don't really.
Was he like one of the best quarterbacks in the preseason? Like one of the top 2 most productive.
I'm trying not to overstate it.
Yeah,
I'm trying not to overstate. I'm trying to get too excited, but he was good, and I wonder truly if they had made this change 6 or 8 weeks ago, if the Raiders would be going to the playoffs.
I doubt it. I doubt he's better than Derek Carr right now. Again, I've almost become like a Derek Carr defender. I've like quite literally my entire life been known as like a Derek Carr hater, to the point where David Carr somehow blocked me on Twitter, even though we had like never interacted. So I mean, I've been a Derek Carr hater, but I haven't like been tweeting at David, your brother sucks.
Oh God.
Idiot! Why don't you block me, huh? And then he did. Yeah, he did. But no, I didn't do that kind of. But I was enough of a Derek Carr hater to get a block from his brother. But man, he just feels like such a fall guy to me for Josh McDaniels. But yeah, I mean, then against the best defense in the league, Jarrett Stidham has a better game than he had all year. Because the 2 interceptions were kind of misleading, especially the second. He was just getting hammered.
And it was a really aggressive, you know, game plan. You know, 44 attempts for Stidham, which is wildly off their usual script, which is just to run it as much as possible with Josh Jacobs. They didn't do that here.
So the other question. Josh McDaniels has a monstrous ego. Like, this is a man who drafted Tim Tebow, didn't get the chance to start him because he got fired by the Broncos before he could do that. But there's no, like, save Jarrett Stidham lights up the Chiefs on Saturday.
Yeah.
There's no way that they convince themselves that Jarrett Stidham is the 2023 starter, is there? Or do you think, yeah.
It depends. I think that a really, really good performance would at least open the door for Stidham to compete for the starting job.
We've just seen how often that goes poorly.
Yeah.
At the end of the season, a guy comes in, has 2 or 3 good starts. Like, the next thing you know, he's got a 2-year extension for some reason.
Right.
And yikes.
I'm not saying that he's, you know, locked up the job for next year. And I don't know where the Raiders would be drafting right now, but you know, I don't think they would be in position to get an elite quarterback unless they sold the farm, which I don't even think they have a farm to sell.
Yeah, they don't. Do they even have a 1st-round pick? I don't think they do.
It's possible they don't. But
maybe they only traded 1 1st-round pick for Devontae Adams. I'll look at that as we talk about our next topic, which is the aforementioned Kansas City Chiefs playing on Saturday against the Raiders. Chiefs do need to win. They're still in contention for the number 1 seed. They're going to have no idea what the Bills have done because the Bills are not playing until Sunday.
Yeah.
So the Chiefs have to be pedal to the metal. You point out that Patrick Mahomes is close to a personal benchmark or maybe a historic benchmark, and you think the Chiefs are going to be going all out against the Raiders, a very, very poor defense on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, he couldn't be in a better spot to do what I'm sure he wants to do, which is to break Peyton Manning's record for most passing yards in a season, 5,477 yards, just a tremendous number of yards, as you might say, not a normal amount of yards that a quarterback would throw for. But
tremendous.
Mahomes needs 429 yards against the Raiders. And the Raiders, as you know, if you've been listening to us or have been watching football at all this year, I've never watched a game, but if you have, you've seen that Vegas is quite bad against the pass. They get no pressure on the quarterback. They give up the third highest positive pass rate to opposing quarterbacks. I think Mahomes, if they truly do chase this record, it has 500 yards in its range of outcomes, and we need to adjust accordingly.
Producer Adam points out, so the Chiefs could be in a position to clinch the number 1 seed on Saturday, because if the Bills lose to the Bengals on Monday evening, which by the time you're listening to the show, you probably already know what happens there. All the Chiefs need to do is win on Saturday, but it doesn't change the fact the Chiefs need to win on Saturday. I mean, I guess if the game gets out of hand, we could get into resting mode, but
right.
We're going to get at least 2.5 quarters of Patrick Mahomes and probably a full game.
I would guess it's a full game. I mean, unless it gets really out of hand, but
which it could. I mean, they're starting Jarrett Stidham.
I mean, I have more confidence in that game not getting out of hand with Stidham under center than I would with Carr.
Yeah, I mean, really, man, I can't believe I'm becoming a Derek Carr.
Look,
listen, okay, he is bad. I can't.
Carr has never done what Stidham did this past week.
No, yeah, it is kind of insane.
I mean, Stidham, like, he makes throws that Carr does not make. He just does. He has he does. He has a stronger arm, more willingness to throw it up for Adams. I mean, it was reckless abandon throwing it down to Adams, and Adams loved it. He loved it. I'm sure he has a new best friend now.
So you think he's unfollowed Derek Carr on Instagram?
I don't even think he's heard of Derek Carr.
By the way, the Chiefs almost 10-point favorites, the total of 53 right now. So the environment for 4:30 will be quite nice. By the way, of course, the record will not count since it's a 17-game season.
Oh, come on. What is he supposed to do?
Sit. honor the history books. I don't know.
Or he plays, but they hand it off every play.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, just be a man of honor. Get who's their running back now? Get Isaiah Pacheco the single game rushing record,
57 carries.
Yeah, just be a man of honor.
I wanted to mention, and this will be in my column, that I take no pleasure in saying that Kadarius Toney may be a thing this week. Okay, look, his routes they're coming up. Okay, look,
we couldn't go down.
We're into January. We have Kadarius Toney's route rate all the way up to 33%. That's as high as we can get it at the moment. Maybe it creeps up a little bit this week against the Raiders, but once again, and this is the reason that you and I really liked him coming into the season, is he commands targets because he gets open. He's been targeted on 26% of his routes as a Kansas City Chief, and not that many routes, only 59 routes. But still, it gels nicely with what we saw last year, which is an ability to command targets. So just remember him.
And two, a lot of like the analytics guys have started talking about like commanding targets is obviously a skill, and like it's very predictive earlier in your career if you're not commanding targets. So I've seen some of the dynasty bros, which I say lovingly, kind of like start to truth George Pickens. Like, yeah, George Pickens, it's a horrible sign that he's not commanding targets as a rookie. No, you should not assume he's just going to magically start commanding targets as a sophomore. And yet, I mean, Kadarius Toney, even though like every one of his coaching staffs are like so baffled by him and like just already like always at their wits end, like when he plays, they can't not target him because he's so like wide open.
If we can get 2 healthy hamstrings for 60 minutes on Saturday, I think we were onto something.
You may have shared the stats. Sorry if I missed it, but Adam Levitan shared on Twitter. Toney has commanded 15 targets on 59 routes for the Chiefs. So
26% route rate.
12 catches for 153 yards and 2 touchdowns. NASA needs to keep his hamstrings healthy. We need a all of government approach to keeping Kadarius Toney's hamstrings healthy.
We do.
Headed into the playoffs in the 2023 season. Speaking of the 2023 season, Denny, Tyler Allgeier, so he reached 100 yards rushing for the first time in his career 2 weeks ago. He reached 20 carries for the first time in his rookie season against the Cardinals on Sunday. A violent, angry runner who's been creating yards after contact in a really one-dimensional, predictable offense. I mean, teams know what the Falcons are going to do if they have the ball. They don't want to pass. They can't pass. He's still generating production. I mean, knock on him coming out of BYU was slow. Like 4.6 speed, basically.
Yeah,
not an amazing pass catcher, but he has room to grow in the pass catching department. Do we think maybe just from what we've seen from Tyler Allgeier down the stretch, and how we know even if they have a new quarterback, we know how the Falcons are going to play. They're going to be run first. Arthur Smith came from a run first system in Tennessee. Been extremely run first through 2 years in Atlanta. Is there any chance Tyler Allgeier is going to be like a making the leap and a guy we're ranking in the top 12 this offseason headed into 2023 drafts?
I could see that happening, and not because, he's like this unbelievable athlete, like you mentioned, but because his role is so solidified in an offense that is run first no matter what. And that's what Arthur Smith has, made no qualms about it. Like he gets mad when anyone even suggests that, hey, you were down 24 in the fourth quarter. Did you consider passing? No. This is what we do. We run the ball. He loves Allgeier. You hear him talk about it. I'm just talking about the more anecdotal stuff. Okay.
His eyes light up.
Allgeier, right. There's it's a loving sort of thing for Allgeier. Allgeier is a former linebacker. He's a big dude. He barrels through guys. And then analytically, he's excellent. He pops in every peripheral category, including importantly, yards after contact per attempt. He's 6th in that category among all running backs, trailing only Derrick Henry, Khalil Herbert, Tony Pollard, Breece Hall, and Ramondre Stevenson. He's really good. This offensive line for the Falcons is low-key extremely good because Caleb Huntley popped in that category. Cordero Patterson has been very efficient, especially for a guy who's not really a running back. So I think Allgeier is very interesting going forward, at least for next year.
People will probably talk themselves, maybe correctly, out of him being an RB1, just maybe because of the athletic limitations. Where even if like you're an angry tackle dragger, if it's like really like 4.6 speed, I mean that is kind of a problem. But we're seeing similar success from a leg hobble J.K. Dobbins in Baltimore, from Gus Edwards, who's always been kind of like a Tyler Allgeier type runner. Like you can have success if you're in the right system, and it certainly seems like Tyler Allgeier. Maybe it'll be too big of a committee, but Tyler Allgeier. He's guaranteed he'll be top 24 in 2023, I think for sure.
Yeah.
That he'll be an RB2, and he'll be an interesting offseason debate case. And we'll be an interesting in-season debate case, Denny. Oh, my God. Just roll the commercial. Just a reminder, if you don't have the NBC Sports Predictor app, go download it now. The contests are free and easy to play, and you have a shot to win thousands this weekend by predicting what will happen in college football and in the Premier League. There's also $100,000 up for grabs by guessing the outcome between the Lions and Packers in our Sunday Night 7 contest. And don't forget, download the Rotoworld app to receive breaking player news all season long. Stay ahead of the competition by favoriting players on your roster. Get the latest injury updates, player news, and much more delivered right to your phone. It's available in your app store today. Denny, you may have heard me break some news there. It, of course, will not be news to people listening on Tuesday or Wednesday, because they will have already read it on the site. But the Sunday night football game that has been flexed is indeed the Lions and the Packers. The Lions could have nothing to play for by then, but the Packers will be a win and in. I can't imagine the Lions will pass up a kneecap biting opportunity. Well, should be a really, really good game at 8:20 p.m. Eastern on NBC and Peacock.
As usual, we get the best game, and I think that most of the country is going to be, diehard Lions fans. Can I read you a quote from Aaron Rodgers after the Packers victory?
Do I really want to know?
Yesterday, you do. The listeners have to know. Okay, this is my responsibility to them. Explaining the Packers' late season surge, Aaron Rodgers said on Sunday after beating the Vikings, quote, "I do believe in the power of manifestation, and I do believe in momentum, and I believe very strongly in the force of the mind." So he has manifested this late season run for the Packers, and it begs the question: why didn't you manifest a better first half of the season? That is one question.
Why let the cat out of the bag? Now Dan Campbell knows. Oh wow, I can move furniture with my mind. Like I wouldn't if it becomes a manifestation contest. I think Dan Campbell can out manifest anybody. Basically,
right. Listen, it has nothing to do with the fact that the Packers defense is healthy and has become more aggressive against opposing pass offenses. It has nothing to do with the fact that their kick returner is regularly ripping off 40, 50, 100-yard returns on kickoffs. None of that is related to their winning. It's all about Aaron Rodgers sitting down and really thinking as hard as possible about the Packers winning, and then it happens. This is the key to football.
Well, I'm sorry your brain's not big enough to do that, Denny.
Yeah. I tried to manifest some DFS winnings yesterday. Didn't work.
I tried to manifest your firing for 2 years, and there's nothing a good legal team can't beat, though. So
that's true.
I don't know how many millions you've paid these people, but it's worked. They've blocked my mind.
I just keep winning best ball contests for millions of dollars.
Yeah, there you go. Yes, good luck to Patrick Crane. Good luck to Patrick Crane. Speaking of blocking and mind, I want to block the Dolphins quarterback situation out of my mind because talk about a team in a must-win Week 18 against the New York Jets. The Miami Dolphins will be down Tua Tagovailoa, who's not returning from his concussion issues. And apparently Teddy Bridgewater, who has a broken finger on his throwing hand. That equals Skylar Thompson against the Jets defense that sprung some leaks against the Seahawks. But Skylar Thompson's been kind of the one quarterback, like impervious to Mike McDaniel's powers this season. 7th round rookie. This doesn't seem good enough. Is it going to be no-go for Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and DFS, or maybe like a situation where you can take advantage of some big play threats who are sure to be under-rostered?
Well, definitely they will have low rostership. Let's be clear about that. Skylar Thompson, the issue with him is that he doesn't pull the trigger on the long pass, especially to Tyreek Hill. He thought about it several times. I covered this game yesterday, the Patriots-Dolphins. He thought about it several times, and he just decided to check down to either Raheem Mostert or Jeff Wilson or Mike Gesicki over and over and over. He had an average depth of target of under 6 against the Patriots. So he's not really mobile. I mean, he looks somewhat mobile, but let's just be honest, he's not fast at all. He's Sam Ehlinger mobile. He wants to be fast.
I'm going to ask you about Sam Ehlinger in a minute, by the way.
Truly is not fast.
Not on the agenda, but we need to talk about Sam Ehlinger.
So Bridgewater, from Tua to Bridgewater, is not a huge is not a huge downgrade for Tyreek Hill and Waddle. From Bridgewater to Skylar Thompson is a disaster, and I actually don't even know if they're worth looking at, even with the appeal of low rostership.
Denny, so you mentioned Sam Ehlinger. I somehow missed the news that he was starting, so I didn't put it on our agenda. So you might not have any notes on it. But Sam Ehlinger, he's back, baby.
Yes.
The Colts didn't even bother to find a Josh Dobbs. They should have gone out of house and signed someone. I think they did not do that. It'll be Sam Ehlinger starting in Week 18. He is facing the 2-12-1 Houston Texans, or maybe 2-13-1 at this point. Houston Texans. He's supposedly a dual threat. We know he's a wild man. And there's going to be so many Galaxy Brain options in DFS this weekend that we can probably avoid Sam Ehlinger. Can we Galaxy Brain Sam Ehlinger and if we're trying to win the Millie, Denny?
I think there are other places.
Or is it Sam Ehlinger in cash too?
No. We're not messing with that now. It's truly like this game. I think that Congress needs to step in and stop this game from happening.
They need to stop the whole Texans franchise. I've been on a tweet rampage. Bryce Young, if he is going to be the number 1 overall pick, straight up should refuse to go to the Houston Texans.
Yes.
This franchise, we've seen a lot of franchises in chaos. This is one, if I was an agent, I would not allow my player to be going, because he's got his reputation, and his lifetime earnings at stake. You cannot be going to Houston Texans as a quarterback right now. Kind of such a forward-facing, you're always a brand ambassador. If you're the next Aiden Hutchinson or whatever, you can tough out your rookie contract there. If you're a franchise quarterback, you cannot be going to this Houston Texans franchise right now.
No, you're right. He should refuse to play. Everybody should refuse to play for the Texans. It's such a dysfunctional, toxic team, and Brandon Cooks, has been
tried not to play for the Texans.
Yeah, begging to get out of there for a whole season or more. So we understand how bad that is, but Bryce Young definitely will be drafted by the Texans. So.
He will. There are a lot of people saying that Trevor Lawrence should have done the same to the Jags, and they were right because of how hellaciously bad his rookie year environment was.
Yeah,
but maybe Bryce Young whatever, I'll tough out a rookie year, then they'll get a real GM, a real coach. But so no Sam Ehlinger and sorry, we got sidetracked. No Sam Ehlinger and DFS. Thing?
I mean, it's thin. The Opto Bros call it thin, but I will say an Ehlinger, Jelani Woods stack Now that might be something, folks. That might.
I mean, I was trying to get you to say something, and then I really regretted the second I got you to say something.
Right. What did you want from me?
Don't put that out in the world.
That's a very cheap stack.
Oh my God!
You can jam in a whole bunch of stuff with those two.
I don't know why I thought it was a good idea to try to get you to say something. You found Sam Elling right.
I mean, you refused to take no for an answer.
I did refuse to take no for an answer. I'm going to ask you about a similarly. The Titans announced Monday afternoon Josh Dobbs will be making another start against the Jacksonville Jaguars. The total is currently under 40. The Jags are almost touchdown favorites. This is the Saturday slate. So if you think Jarrett Stidham is too much chalk, Denny, can we start Josh Dobbs?
Right. So
Jaguars in the Saturday small slate.
So you're thinking like a broken brain because Stidham's going to have massive rostership. Dobbs is going to have next to nothing, and he's in a good spot. Like the Jags are really bad against the pass. Now, it doesn't really matter with the Titans because Derrick Henry, unless this game goes completely sideways for Tennessee early on, Derrick Henry is going to see 35 touches here. I think Dobbs just has a little fleeting appeal. We're talking about a 2-game slate, folks. So, give us a break.
Is Dobbs, I know. So you'll be playing Saturday. Are you going to be making Stidham lineups or Dobbs lineups or neither?
Probably a little both. I will say he kept Treylon Burks relevant. And I think, Burks profiles as our colleague Kyle Dvorak would say, God level leverage on Derrick Henry. Okay. So if you are brave enough, and I don't know if I am, I'm going to have to really look at myself in the mirror before I make this decision. But if you're brave enough to fade Derrick Henry on that 2-game slate, you have to go with Treylon Burks because if they're forced into pass-heavy script, Burks is in an amazing spot. The Jags secondary is garbage. Okay, Burks could have a big game. So
if you think 4-game slate where the quarterbacks are Mahomes, Stidham, Josh Dobbs, and Trevor Lawrence, is maybe Trevor Lawrence like the obvious pick? There's by far the second best quarterback, much cheaper than Mahomes, though. Or will everyone be thinking this way, and will too many people be on Trevor Lawrence?
It's a good question, and I love excessive talk of a 2-game slate. I really do. I could do this all day.
There'll be plenty of it this week.
So it actually, as much as it hurts, salary wise, the Mahomes Kelsey stack is probably going to be less rostered than it should be.
Yes,
because it's
Mahomes, Kelsey, and you get Tony in there. Then
you throw in a little MVS.
No. I'd rather not play DFS than do that.
You know what? Here it is. You have Kelsey, you have Mahomes, you have Justin Watson, and you're off. And you're off to the races, folks.
I keep thinking I want you to talk about these things. Oh my God!
Throw in Jerick McKinnon, and you got all the touchdowns.
Okay, there you go. I'm surprised you didn't say Noah Gray.
Him too.
Didn't Blake Bell score? Isn't Blake Bell back? Didn't he score? Is he still in the Chiefs or is he on the 49ers now?
You find a way to play 3 Kansas City tight ends. That's the key to the slate.
Blake Bell. I know that he scored a tutter in week 17, and it appears it was for the Kansas City Chiefs. He is still on the Kansas City Chiefs. Scoring. He handed the ball to Major Tutty, who for some reason was at Arrowhead Stadium.
Yeah, we don't know why.
We do not know why. You want to talk about the Jets backfield, Denny? Or on Sunday, we were wondering, would it be Zonovan Knight after his calamitous week 16? Would it maybe be Michael Carter? Against a bad Seahawks defense, maybe someone to catch some passes. Instead, it was option 3.
Yeah.
Ty Johnson, who had 9 touches in his past 4 games, the Jets' past 4 December games, somehow started the game. He led in snaps, but it was a 3-man committee. He played like 45% of the snaps. Michael Carter played like 30% of the snaps. Zonovan Knight played only 22% of the snaps, but he had 9 touches to Ty Johnson's 10. This seems like total like Lord of the Flies mess. The Jets are eliminated, so we kind of have no idea. They could be kind of an inscrutable Week 18 team facing the Dolphins. Can you make anything of this now 3-man Jets backfield heading into the finale?
I mean, I would like to say Ty Johnson is appealing here, but he split the
passing network with Michael Carter.
Michael Carter. Although Ty Johnson did see all of the 2-minute drill snaps for the Jets against the Seahawks per Pro Football Focus. Third downs, Michael Carter had the edge over Ty Johnson, and then Zonovan Knight did not see a single third down. So Zonovan Knight, has been for a while now, a very game script sensitive option. And, if the Jets are not ahead, then Zonovan Knight is not going to see the ball almost at all. This week against the Dolphins, I'm guessing that they against Skylar Thompson, I should say, and the Dolphins, they could have a lot of positive script. So it might be Bam Knight season again.
Man, most people have zero cool names. How does Zonovan Bam Knight have two cool first names? That's what I really want to know.
It's excessive.
It's excessive, but I mean, also like props to his parents, props to his friends who probably nicknamed him. Maybe his uncle that nicknamed him.
That's right. There's so many people without one cool name, and he has two, and frankly, that's not fair.
It's not. Do your kids nickname each other or other people by any chance?
I have a bunch of weird nicknames for my kids.
Me too.
I don't even know where they come from half the time. I ended up calling my son Oatmeal for a while. I have no idea.
We have currently my 4-year-old son, now going on 3 or 4 months, is exclusively referred to his 2-year-old sister as Squirrel. And we have no idea. He has refused to explain the origins of this, and because I don't think he actually knows.
Squirrel.
Just started calling her Squirrel. He also calls his older sister Deer, as in Deer, not Dear.
So he watched one nature documentary.
Yeah, he did. But he's calling. This is not a joke. He's been calling me Dak instead of Dad.
Dak?
Yeah, I know. Maybe he saw a Sleep Number commercial.
That's funny.
But yeah, he's only calling his sister Squirrel right now. And she just like answers to it matter of factly. Yeah. Right. I heard her grandmother call her Squirrel the other day. So we could have a nickname.
For a while, my kids call me Daddy-O. And I was like, I don't know. I feel like, I'm not tough enough for you to call me that.
I was called Dadu for a little bit. I actually liked that one. That one was a good one.
Me too. That I love that one.
I kind of tried to force the issue with Dadu, and the rest of the family was like, calm down.
enough with the Dadu.
Yeah, no, they actually were. My wife's like, stop.
Stop yelling at them to call you Dad.
Yeah, I know. Sitting them down and lecturing them and getting like really close to their faces. Like
I do not want to be referred to as dad, as father, as daddy. I want to be Dadu.
I'm Dadu. Speaking of Dadus, Denny, Justin Jefferson had been everyone's daddy until week 17 when he acquired a new daddy and Jair Alexander, who shut him down. This was, of course, inspiring endless debate on Twitter from Vikings fans claiming he was not actually shut down, that he was getting bracket coverage, et cetera, et cetera. But Vikings fans were really adamant to you that it was not Kirk Cousins' fault that he threw 3 picks and once again melted in the only game that mattered. But yeah, anyway, Justin Jefferson, he's still within reach of the first 2,000-yard season in NFL history. The Vikings don't have a ton to play for this weekend, but the Chicago Bears, a hellaciously bad defense. What do we think of Justin Jefferson's record odds?
Well, yeah, Justin Jefferson has 223.
He needs that many.
Wait a sec. That's not right.
You're trying to do math, Denny.
Yeah. Let's see.
Well, let's see here, Denny. He has 1,771 yards. So he needs 229 yards to reach 1,000.
220,
which is a lot. That's a hell of a lot of yards.
Wait, to break the record.
He needs 229 to get to 2K. To break the record, which I believe is 1981. Yeah, he needs like 210, 211.
There you go. Okay, thank you. Yes, yeah. For some reason I had 223. All right. Yeah, so he needs a huge game, but listen, this Bears defense, he can give 200 against them.
Sorry, the record's 1964 actually. So he needs under 200 yards to break Calvin Johnson's record. We were thinking more. I want him to get to 2K though.
Right.
Anyways, he needs a lot of yards to do some cool stuff against the Bears.
He does. And the Bears have the worst secondary in the entire NFL. They will jam him targets I think I would be actually like frightened to make a DFS lineup without Justin Jefferson this week.
Does it change the calculus at all if Justin Fields does not play for the Bears, where Coach Matt Eberflus actually left the door open on Monday? We were getting ready to record the pod, actually. Excuse me, I don't know what day it was. Matt Eberflus did not commit to Justin Fields starting Week 18 against the Vikings, according to a website called Rotoworld. Took 7 sacks against the Lions. Has been really banged up for weeks.
Yeah, got beat
if
up.
Justin Fields doesn't play against the Vikings, there's like no way the Vikings can like justify that kind of like shameless record chasing if Fields is not out there.
I mean, the Lions did it with Megatron.
They did. I remember that game was on a Saturday. I do remember that. They did. They went for broke.
Yes, every single ball went to him.
The Lions, though, were like out of the playoff contention that year. Like that was all they had to play for. Whereas in theory, the Vikings were supposed to be getting ready for the playoffs.
Listen, Mike Zimmer would never do. In fact, he would bench Justin Jefferson.
He would deactivate him.
Yeah. He would say, "No, you're not getting that record, son." No. But Kevin O'Connell, I think he would like to say, "Hey, in my first year as a head coach, I generated the best season of all time for a receiver." So
he needs 193 yards to tie Megatron. He needs 229 to reach 2K. If he had gotten 70 yards against the Packers, it would be a totally different ball game. But man,
he got. I'm looking at box score 15 yards. Looks like 15 yards.
Just even 70 would have been, even 50. Made his life so much easier.
Also, I do fear that Jair Alexander and the Packers kind of laid the blueprint for how to stop Justin Jefferson, and it's
part of the blueprint's having Jair Alexander.
Well, part of the blueprint is making physical contact with him. Which
shockingly, it's a pattern that repeats throughout NFL history. Yeah, we just mugged the guy. Probably have a bad game.
Yeah, right. But I think teams in the playoffs might consider not letting Justin Jefferson run free for 15 yards before they, provide some coverage and some.
Well, in the playoffs too, the refs they want to swallow the whistle. Like a lot of teams start to abide by. I think the Rams with Jalen Ramsey last year did this. Start to abide by. Well, they're not going to call a penalty every play. So,
right. So let's just do this.
Yeah, let's be legends. Let's do this. And wow, Jalen Ramsey just knocked Brandon Ayuk over at the line of scrimmage, and they didn't call for the third straight play. And they didn't call a penalty.
Do you remember there was a time where the NFL rules around like hitting guys when the quarterback leaves the pocket were a little different? And I'm trying to think, it was like during the Seahawks heyday when Richard Sherman used to like actively hunt out guys to just take them out as soon as the quarterback stepped 1 foot out of the pocket, he would just find someone and just level him.
Yeah, like all crime was legal for a little bit. No. Man, back in our day, 8 years ago,
it was really something.
Things were a lot different. Let me tell you what. Things were just so much different, as I say, as I'm trying to find our tab with the topics in it. Denny, Cam Akers. He's averaging. I want to hear a truly pointless stat because it's like stripped of any meaningful context.
I love pointless stats. So yes.
Cam Akers is averaging 4.89 yards per carry on 90 carries since Matthew Stafford was injured, compared to 3.12 yards per carry on 76 carries while Matthew Stafford was still in the lineup. A lot going on here where, of course, they've changed how the offense operates without Matthew Stafford. But, like a line that appeared like irredeemably bad is like creating space for Cam Akers all of a sudden. Cam Akers is like ripping some big play. I mean, Cam Akers post Achilles, like in the playoffs last year, the first half of this season, like the man couldn't even he didn't have a single run over 20 yards.
Right.
He didn't have a single run over 15 yards until week 15. He had a 19-yard run in then week 15. He had his first 20-plus yard run in week 16. Had a 42-yard run against the Chargers. He's getting a little explosion back in his game.
Yeah.
Is Cam Akers somehow, after trying to Brandon Cooks his way off the Rams, is he somehow back in the mix to be the starter for the Rams again in 2023?
You'd have to think so. I mean, I think the explosion is back, and that Achilles situation sometimes takes a long time. Like
Deontay Foreman, it just takes a long time. But it does.
Deontay Foreman took 2 years. It took him 2 full calendar years to get back to something resembling what he was before that injury. So for Cam Akers to tear his Achilles in June 2021, and then like a year later be back and everybody, okay, well, he's back. No, he wasn't back. Maybe it wasn't even a good idea for him to be back. But so over the past 3 weeks, only Derrick Henry and J.K. Dobbins have more runs of over 10 yards than Cam Akers. According to PFF's grades, well, PFF has Cam Akers as the highest graded running back over the past month. He's just straight up has been excellent. His former self, you might say. So yeah, I mean, I think that there's a really good chance he can carry this over. Barring a setback with that.
Real quick, you said you wanted to say something about the Lions' backfield. Is there anything say? They're playing the Packers, a noted bad run defense.
Yeah, look, it all comes down to whether Justin Jackson is available.
My Lord.
It does. It doesn't make much sense, but Justin Jackson was out for week 17 week 17 against the Bears, and both Jamaal Williams and DeAndre Swift went bananas. Now the Bears are the Bears, and they're just terrible defense, terrible run defense, whatever. But if Justin Jackson is in there, he takes away some of the passing down work for Swift. He takes away some of the short yardage stuff for both the backs, but particularly Williams. So if he's out again in Week 18 in their Sunday night game on NBC against the Packers, then I think both Swift and Jamaal Williams become. Well, I guess you're talking about showdown lineups, but a Galaxy Brainer will put two running backs from the same team in a showdown lineup, and that's maybe what you should do this coming week.
One of them will be Justin Jackson.
I mean that is the issue.
Justin Jackson in the captain spot, Denny.
Who says no?
I do. Yeah, we both do.
Actually,
real quick, going to run through some quick headlines. Todd Bowles is claiming the Bucs starters are going to play. What is wrong? What's wrong with this guy?
That's just he's a football guy through and through. No meaningless games. We play this game for the love of the game, not for money. And
they need to not play their starters in this game. This team is banged the hell up.
They're not playing these guys. No way.
Well, I'm afraid they might. And man, someone's gonna get hurt. They need to not play their starters. Horrible. James Conner day to day with a shin injury.
Please shut him down.
He's guaranteed over $5 million next year. I kind of feel like they will shut him down. I mean, Corey Clement is apparently. I did not know Corey Clement is apparently the number 2 in the Cardinals. I mean,
yeah,
is that way too sicko?
No,
Week 18?
No, he's in my column, folks, on NBCSportsEdge.com tomorrow. Find him. If you want to read about Corey Clement, you come to me, and I will tell you about him.
Come to Mike White is going to play through. Mike White, who was hillaciously bad against the Seahawks.
He might be bad.
He's going to play though, apparently. So it looks like all the real news we needed to get to there.
You know what? You talked about the Colts and rolling out these horrible quarterbacks. The Colts should have acquired Chris Streveler off the practice squad, off the Jets practice squad a month ago, and just run the Tebow package forever, right? Every single game. Have him running 15, 20 times a game. That would have been fun and cool. Man.
It is just shocking to end the show on this note. There's no adaptability just ever. The Colts clearly just don't have the personnel to run a conventional passing offense.
No.
How is there not, especially from a guy who has literally nothing to lose, a guy who was in the media 6 weeks ago? How do you not be okay, we got to just play offense a different way? I guess maybe they tried that with Sam Ehlinger and got so spooked, but I just still cannot believe the lack of inventiveness and offense in college and NFL has just gotten kind of stale. There's no one zigging to the zagging right now, and man, because the Colts, this is the definition of insanity. Doing this 7 or 8 games, you need to try something totally different, and they just didn't do it.
By the way, I have to commend one more time Jeff Saturday for committing to taking the points, committing to field goals over everything else against the Giants in a totally meaningless game. On 4th and inches, they were about to snap the ball and go for it, and he ran onto the field to say, "No, timeout. Get Chase McLaughlin on here. We need the 3 points." And of course, they were blown out by the Giants. But you have to credit him for his consistency. One thing Jeff Saturday will not stand for is scoring touchdowns, and he stuck with that.
He does stick. By the way, speaking of, you don't have to hand it to Kayvon Thibodeau, who did, I would say, probably 7 to 8 too many snow angels next to arriving Nick, for what was that? Was one of the that was one of, I mean, I'm laughing, but that was one of the darker things I've ever seen on an NFL field.
Yeah, so I heard
what was that?
The excuse was, oh, he's doing snow angels, and my rebuttal to that was there was no snow.
No,
there's no. What are you talking about, snow angels?
That was one of, I'm sorry, I'm laughing because like it actually is not funny, but that was one of the darker things I've ever seen in sports.
I'm a non-violent man, as you know. But I do not understand how the Colts offensive linemen did not start an all-out brawl.
Well, Jeff Saturday was sore about that they didn't brawl.
I mean, you gotta, like, it doesn't, you might not want to, but you gotta just start throwing helmets at that point. You have to do it.
You kind of did. There is just a certain code to being a human being, and that includes ending this show. So it's gonna be a crazy week. We don't know who's gonna be playing in week 18. It's going to be really up in the air. So many different teams, so many different motivations. Teams that are out of it might want to rest injured players. Teams that are advancing who might not have much to play for might be resting healthy players. So just keep it locked to NBC Sports Edge and Rotoworld. It's going to be a week where redraft is mostly over. Though some of you are playing redraft. We're still going to have rankings. We're still going to have a lot of articles on the site. So keep it locked. There's going to be a lot of news. And we'll be back. Denny and I will be back later this week to preview the entire slate with Patrick Crane and Kyle Dvorak.
There you go.
So for Denny Carter, for Major Tuddy, I'm Patrick Daugherty. Thanks for listening. We'll be back later.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.